Hey, everybody, we are back. It is Sunday, May 21st, 2023, and we have finally made it to my favorite number, episode 13 of Black Box Signal. Took a little bit of time off. Fired my co-host. No, not really. He is out in the field, which is just code for he's got family stuff today. He's a dad. He's got stuff going on. But I'm your host, as always, holding down the fort, Chase Johnson. And this week, I am joined by, I guess I didn't go over this before we went over the show, how I should introduce you. Joined by,
whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do.
Dustin Miller, good friend of the show, streamer.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, he's got his socials down below if you're watching this live on Twitch right now or catching this later. But yeah, man, how are you?
I'm good. Tired. What about you?
Actually, I know I've been saying this a lot on the podcast that Dexter hasn't been sleeping well. He's finally actually sleeping pretty well. He's getting
awesome.
He's waking up like twice a night, and that's good. The only thing that sucks right now is a little bit of more father talk here and maybe TMI, but this is life, okay? Right now my wife has strep throat. So she's taking a steroid. She's getting towards the end of it. And she has strep, which means she can't breastfeed right now because she's on that steroid. And he's a half and half baby. He just started eating food, so that helps. So he eats food, he can do a bottle, but sometimes he wants that boob. And
what guy doesn't want a boob?
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, he doesn't get like ornery with it, but it's just funny because he'll just start like headbutting her in the chest, and then he'll start headbutting me in the chest, like just thinking like if I had my shirt off, like as weird as that sounds, and it's just like nobody don't got that.
That's hilarious.
But he's adjusting well, all things considered.
Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah. So what we'll get into what you've got going on. What have you been going on? What the reason why I really have you on here, we'll get to the big reason.
Yeah.
I think we all know the biggest release of the month, Trackmania.
Right. Yeah. No. I didn't prepare for Trackmania.
That's my section. Yeah. So what do you got going on in the world of Dustin? Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? What type of games do you kind of like to play? We should probably go into that because we know Brandon for being kind of the horror-ish guy with mixed RPG. What do you like?
Shoot, I guess the best description is a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Currently right now, I mean, of course, like what we'll get into later, and we'll talk about that later. I'm playing, honestly, like some good friends of mine got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh again.
Ooh.
So I've been playing, yeah. So I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links on my phone. I've also been playing some Pokemon in my downtime. Some Omega Ruby.
Okay.
But yeah, most games I play are like the single person or single player adventure types. I'm usually really good with like puzzle platformers.
Okay.
Most of the time.
Nice. And huge Pokemon fan. Like big
massive
Pokemon fan.
Massive.
Yeah.
Like I'm that guy that like as he grew up and he learned more and more about Pokemon, and as like Pokemon became bigger and bigger, it just kind of took over a giant chunk of my brain. And so I lost most of what I learned in school, but I remember all 1,000 and something Pokemon. So
yeah, see, I played Pokemon. I did Pokemon. It was obviously Blue was like the only one I had because trailer park kids, so we were all like trading games. So like my friend had Red, I had another friend that had Yellow, and I had Blue. So that was like kind of how it worked out. So jealous of the friend that had Yellow. But and then eventually I got Silver, and I think. Chelsea, you're in the chat. Did you get Silver too, or did you just get Crystal? Because I remember I got Silver and Crystal, and I don't know if you got Gold. But anyway, my sister's in the chat right now, so I figured she'll respond to that. But yeah. So that, and then I fell off for a gen, and then I got back in on Diamond, and then I fell off again. Got back in on X, fell off again. Got back on Sword and Shield, fell off again, and now I'm back on Violet.
Chase, when you have the time, or maybe we'll just wait for when the inevitable remake happens, but you fell off at like one of my favorite generations.
That's what a lot of people tell me.
Yeah. So we'll talk later if it ever gets announced or when it comes out, but I need to get you to play like Black and White or something.
Okay. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll throw it on the pile. My inevitable
Yeah.
pile of things that I will get to eventually.
You're eventually that pile is gonna get so big you're just gonna recreate the scene from The Dark Knight,
It's already
where
that big.
it's not about burning the money; it's about sending a message.
No shit. Um, yeah. But so you put down here, you got Pokemon Hope home update is finally coming.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah. You know
you.
how I put all caps might start yelling?
Yeah.
So okay, we'll start how it was going to be structured. So yeah, this past week, Pokemon Home Update was announced to finally be able to connect to Scarlet and Violet. And naturally, like super excited about it because I was gonna be finally able to restart my game and save all my Pokemon. Um, they announced it Thursday, and then Friday, Pokemon themselves, after they had made the announcement themselves the day before, put out an announcement and said, "Hey, we jumped the gun. Not happening."
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
okay.
like, "We don't have a date right now. We'll get back to you later." But no update. And
Okay.
it sucks because it was like not only was it going to be finally able to connect to Scarlet and Violet, but they also had these new updates to where you could adjust or not adjust, but like have Pokemon relearn moves that they've learned before in Pokemon Home itself. And there's also like some like interactive stuff where you could, if you're into it, you could like gain stickers and stuff like that. And they were doing a giveaway of the three starters from Scarlet and Violet, but with their hidden abilities. And it's not happening now. No idea when.
So okay, so they didn't even give an update of provide an update as to when.
No.
You know,
They just said we'll get back to you later.
there was an earlier episode titled this, but that just sounds about like that title, just Nintendo enough. That just sounds like
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like that.
I was so angry because like I was sitting there Thursday, announcement happened, and then I was like, okay, what's the new team I want to do? Like I want to use these Pokemon, I want to like start this starter, and now it's all out the window. And my brain's going to forget it by the time they announce it 3 months down the road, even though they've made promises since November that the connection to Pokemon Home was going to happen in the spring of 2023.
Right.
Spring ends in like a month.
Yeah, I traded like everything into my Pokemon Home bank. I never even used Pokemon Home. I just had I had Let's Go Pikachu for Violet. That was like her actual
Mm-hmm.
first exposure to Pokemon was when or it was Let's Go Eevee because my sister and her really liked Eevee, so I just got Eevee. But I
I
traded
mean,
all my
yeah, that's the
Pokemon in
one I got
there,
too.
and then I had a few from Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl because I started it but didn't finish it. But I had a few in there that I was like, oh, I'll take them out of there.
Don't need to
Oh,
finish it. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah. So they're just sitting there waiting, and I'm like,
like, okay, so yeah, you're frustrated. Now picture me, right? Playing Pokemon since a wee lad, 3 years old. I am 28 now. Um,
Jesus,
I have I have Pokemon in Pokemon Home that have kept since the original run of Sapphire and Ruby. I still have like my original Blaziken, like a level 100 Kyogre that I used to use. It's all in there from the past. Like how many? What generation are we on now? 9.
something
Yeah,
like that.
past 6 generations is like the history of Dustin going through Pokemon, and now it's like Scarlet and Violet. I'm just gonna assume it's not gonna happen at this point.
Yeah, I like I said before, kind of about the Sonic game. I feel like the next Pokemon game might be it, but I feel like we keep saying that about Pokemon because I felt like I said that about Sword and Shield.
Uh, we'll see. This game started off pretty solid. Not gonna lie, minus some graphical input, but or graphical issues, but it's fine. Um, will give back to me when the DLC drops. Because I'm 100% just gonna like mess with those all the time, and I'll tell you if it's a good game or not.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, what else you got? I know you got.
So one small little announcement to any like viewers of mine who are here, Power Wash Simulator, they just announced that they are doing a partnership with SpongeBob, and you're gonna have a few levels where you get to drop into Bikini Bottom and somehow use a power washer underwater to clean Bikini Bottom.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like SpongeBob. I like SpongeBob a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of old when SpongeBob came out, but I still liked it.
Can't say
That
can't
was a
say the
nice.
same.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, I was like, what sophomore year putting like SpongeBob and Gary shoelaces on my Converse. Like
That's funny.
Groovy Llama's excited for the DLC.
Oh yeah.
um,
Um.
but the big meat and potatoes, why I really have you here,
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
even though I knew I wasn't gonna play much of it, but now Brandon, I guess, is playing a bunch of it, so
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting. But you're here to talk about the big release of the week. Like I said at the
Yeah.
top, Trackmania. So Trackmania is no, it's we're gonna talk about Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I will say I am a tad bummed that Brandon can't be here because him and I have been talking like all week about it. Um, but no, okay, so Tears of the Kingdom, of course, is like the follow-up to Breath of the Wild. Um, I haven't I probably should look it up and I probably should have looked up ahead of time, but I don't know exact time. It takes place like a little just maybe a few years after the events of Breath of the Wild. Um I don't know how much like you want me to go into it. I'm gonna leave pretty much like spoilers out of it. Uh, but basically, I'm sure everyone's probably seen or probably watched trailers. Kind of starts off with Zelda. You and her are exploring a cave underneath the kingdom of Hyrule, and you awaken a mummified corpse who then like basically destroys the land and creates this new environment for you to traverse and explore, where a bunch of the land is now floating in the sky. And so there's a bunch of stuff up there, but because of all that land that's been lifted, there's also holes in the ground, and now you can go underground and
okay,
explore underneath there. Um, it is massive. I've got it. I've had it since launch day, um, and I just did like the first boss finally.
okay, yeah,
Um,
because I've been watching you stream it a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know you and I have had this back and forth. And granted, I can say this. My favorite Legend of Zelda is A Link to the Past. Phenomenal, phenomenal.
Mm.
Probably one of the greatest stories in all of video games. Um this this might be the definitive Legend of Zelda to play.
We can agree to disagree on
That's okay. That's
that.
okay. If you want to get
no,
into it, we can.
no.
Um
From what I've seen, it looks really good. I will
yeah.
say that. My reservation with it, and I'm not, and this is somebody who hasn't played the game, as someone who bounced off Breath of the Wild. Um, the building looks so much fun. All
Yes.
the tool set
Yes.
in general looks fun. Like the going through the ceiling looks broken. All the puzzle solving looks fun. It ultimately hit me the other day though, like a ton of bricks. You know, I always say I hate the durability, but I hate more
Yeah.
than that. Turns out that the combat as a whole, I don't like in that game. My
Okay.
reservation is, as somebody who just would probably want to mess around with the tool set,
Hmm.
how much of that combat am I really going to have to engage with to unlock the
So
tools to have fun in that tool set?
so here's the thing. You know how in Breath of the Wild where you started off on that plateau? So similar to that in Tears of the Kingdom, you start off in a floating island. You get the four main powers in that tutorial.
Okay.
So you get the ability to like do the like make the constructs and fuse things together. You get the ability to fuse items with your weapons and shields and stuff like that. Also like fusing stuff with your arrows. So like one of the first things they give you is a fire fruit, and you can fuse it with your arrow. So now your arrow shoots fire arrows. It only does one shot per fruit, which is maybe a little bit of a complaint I have. Is that if you're wanting to shoot fire arrows, you got to use a fruit every time you want to shoot an arrow.
Okay.
Um, so that might take away from it for some people. Um, and then of course, like like the items that you would need to put together, like the giant, like the emitters, the fans, and the power cells and stuff. You can get those pretty quick. There's a lot of every like maybe 20 yards or so. There's like a place set up on the side of the road in the mainland where there's just like wheels and planks of wood and stuff that you can like mess with and make carts with. There's also, because this is another thing that like I was kind of afraid of, is they showed off these items that would give you ability to like the fans and fire emitters and rockets and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, how few and far between are they going to be? Am I going to have to defeat multiple enemies to get them? The cool thing is as long as you can find what are called Zonai charges, which are like basically just batteries, those you do have to get off of enemies, but they drop like 2 or 3 per kill. You can find basically like gotcha machines, and you can drop a bunch in. You can drop up to 5 at a time, and when you drop 5 in, you get 12 items back, and it's all those items that you can use, like the rockets, the fans, and stuff like that. And those sit in your inventory, and you can take them out whenever you want. Of course, when you take them out, you can't put them back in. So there is an aspect of resource management with it, which I kind of like, because it makes it to where I'm not trying to cheat everything.
Right.
But yeah, there's the constant ability to like just build stuff, put things together. A good chunk of everything in the world can. I don't want to say a good chunk, but there's a decent amount of stuff that can be fused and put together. Obviously, Korok seeds make a return, and there's a lot of like Korok people who are like backpackers. Those can be fused to constructs, and I'm sure if you like explore any side of Twitter or TikTok right now, there's thousands of videos of people committing basically genocide against these things and put them on rotisserie. So,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into like the war crimes people are committing in this game. So
yeah, great. Even Nintendo fans. Nintendo's so worried about that infiltrating their system. That's why they don't. That's why they have a shitty online service, and yet it's already there, Nintendo.
Yeah, no, Geneva Convention, throw it out the window in this game. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I haven't really beat the game. Of course, I'll get back to you when I do.
That doesn't surprise me. It's a huge game.
It's massive, and I get sidetracked a lot. I'm sure if you just mainline the story, you can get through it pretty quickly. But if I see a a shrine, I'm gonna do the shrine. If I see enemies, I'm probably just gonna go after the enemies. So so far, really enjoying it. I can't put it down. I even have my Switch literally sitting right here.
Yep.
Because I was playing it before you called me.
Yep.
Yeah. So can't put it like after I kind of separated from stream and started playing on my own. Literally hasn't left my side, and I can't stop playing it. Yeah. That's the other really cool thing is and this is why I kind of want to convince you a little bit, because I mean you and I's brains kind of worked a little similarly. You bounced off of Breath of the Wild, and I'll admit, when I first played it, I bounced off it too, and I had to restart like a year and a half later to actually play the game. And the only reason why I beat it is because it was in the middle of COVID and I had nothing else to do. I feel like this game could get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's enough content, even though the world is vast and it can sometimes feel empty. The constructs, the various enemies, and the ability to explore and find ways to not only like hitch ride on things to go up in the sky and do platforms and puzzles up there, but also go underground and solve puzzles and do it like explore underneath there. I feel like this one might get you. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe. I don't know.
I will say Brandon kind of agreed with me. Him and I were talking Friday, and he's like, "Dude, we got to get chasing this." Especially, and I think I might have got you with this, especially because of that tweet I added you at, where people were making Gundams and like flying machines, and so now they're trying to get the modders to make
that
the
part
multiplayer.
Looks cool, but then I feel like I'll never finish the game. I'll just keep making cool shit. That's all I'll do.
That's fine. Whoever finished Minecraft, they just make cool shit.
And then I'll eventually put it down, and then I'll come back and be like, "What the hell happened? Where am I?" which is what happened with
That's
Breath of the
fine.
Wild.
You'll just leave a wake of dead moblins in your
Also,
wake, and that's
I've
the
talked
best
about this
part.
with Brandon. I have here. Okay, so here's my journey with Zelda. I haven't
Hmm.
played every single one. Obviously, there's a
Me
lot of them.
neither. Me neither.
Played the first one, loved it
Hmm.
when I was younger. Played Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, impossible to beat. I don't think it's possible to beat. Um, then I played, let's see, obviously Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Ocarina of Time. Liked Ocarina of Time. Hated Majora's Mask. Um, didn't
Why,
really.
Chase? Why, Chase? Let's get controversial. Why, Chase?
Mm,
Sorry to put you on the spot, but I wanna listen to you. Even though I know your answer, I want you to get it out there live.
what my answer that it's a ROM hack and it's a
Yep, yep,
it's
yep.
it's it's a ROM hack and it was made in a year and it was just used with the same assets and it was just not a fun game and like the mechanics weren't fun.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
just
mean, I
just throwing
haven't
it out
played it
there.
myself, so I'm not gonna say anything. But
Just throwing it out there. Um, and then I actually this one's a controversial one too. Not the biggest fan of Twilight Princess. I only thought it was all right. Loved Wind Waker. Like my two favorite are Link to the Past and Wind Waker. But
still haven't played it.
love a Link Between Worlds, the one that was on 3DS. Um, I tend to skew 2D top down than
Okay.
open world. I really do. I tend to enjoy those ones more. So looking back on it and with my relationship with the series, it doesn't surprise me that I'm just like, okay, cool. Open world Zelda. When's the next top down one? Because I love the Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah.
That was on Switch. That I love that art style. I loved that was fun. But I that's me. But this one does look really good.
Hmm.
Like the tinkering, the tool set, the also just like I said, being able to just zip through the ceiling, like that just seems broken as
Yes.
shit. Like so
Um.
broken.
So I've definitely found times where I was lost and didn't know what I was doing. Remembered I had that, and I was able to like zip over to something and like continue my journey. Now I will say there is, of course, like there's a limit of space that you can use it in. If something's too high, it just won't register. But I have seen some people kind of use it to their detriment, where they've used it and like zipped through the floor from the ground, and when they came up, it was just a Lionel like looking at them. So yeah,
Backfire.
there, yeah. I will say, just to like maybe convince you a little bit more. Um, one construct I saw, I'm sure you probably saw it too. Someone made this flying like death machine, and then they hit a button and like two drones dropped, and like it was like self-targeting, and they were shooting lasers, and it was crazy. So
But
there's tons of the abilities with that.
Armored Core is coming out this year, so
Listen, do we think there's going to be multiplayer?
I hope so.
Can three of us like buddy up and do some like buddy streams where we play multiplayer in Armored Core?
Yes, I've been waiting to find a game to do buddy streams for a while. Yeah, yeah.
I would fucking love that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Armored Core. Yeah, we were off when that trailer dropped. But
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm excited for that one.
I still
Um,
haven't watched it.
yeah, I'll have to send it out. Yeah, you need to check that
No.
out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Um, I guess a little tidbit for all my weebs out there. Jumpstars Ultimate got announced. Nothing in game or anything like any assets. But I'm just gonna make my own assumptions here, right? Okay, so they announced that there's gonna be 150 playable characters in 50 stages. I know Jump Force was kind of crappy. It kind of failed, and this is why, with the sheer amount of people who are going to be or characters who are going to be in this, I'm thinking this might be a Smash Bros. Clone. And Smash Bros. Clones can be hit or miss, but when
More miss than hits, but
more miss than hits. Listen, I get it, I get it. But when some leaks are saying like a good chunk of the roster is filled out with like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, JJK, Demon Slayer, My Hero. I'm kind of I'm getting a little hyped. I
No,
gotta
you
see more. I
no Yu Yu Hakusho
Yeah,
love.
exactly.
Come on now.
No, actually, I think I saw a leak that said that maybe 3 or 4 of the characters from the show are gonna be in there.
That's a great show.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'll report back on that, I guess. But
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Um, I've just been playing the usual. I don't have much. I put Stranger Paradise on here. I have not much to say about that except for it's still weird. Jack's voice acting is so like does not fit in with the rest of the cast. It's like they took either like Solid Snake or like Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell and dropped them in Final Fantasy, and like it's just. But it continues to fascinate me, so I keep playing it.
the
Like
one I remember when you streamed it that I was able to catch, and what I got from it was like, for some reason, the voice actor maybe just didn't have access to the rest of the actors,
right,
and like
like
didn't hear, like he didn't have the ability to act off what they were giving, and so
yeah.
it just kind of comes across as like very deadpan sometimes.
Yes, very, very, very. But I almost think it's intentional because like they kind of poke fun at the fact that he's such a hard ass and a doofus, I've noticed.
Okay.
So maybe it's intentional. I don't know. But yeah, I don't have much more to say about that. I'm chipping away at it. I don't know if I'll finish it before 16 comes out, because once 16 comes out, I'm just gonna put that down and be like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Fair,
Um
fair.
and also this is just kind of like an alternate side game too. I just kind of picked up because it's like, oh, what would happen if you took Souls mechanics and smashed them with Final Fantasy? So that's kind of what I got out of that. But last night I streamed, I guess I'll start with Season first. I streamed more Season, Light of the Future. That game continues to fascinate the shit out of me. I love it. People might have been bored by that. I love
Pretty
just
as
walking. It
hell.
is so pretty. It is so interesting. You're just uncovering like little bits of what the hell happened in this world. And then more and more I go in, it's like, and I never get any questions really answered, but like,
It looked pretty cool. I wasn't really paying attention too much to the story because now I'm kind of getting like a, maybe I'll check this out myself. So I don't really want to get spoiled, but yeah, it looks awesome.
well, like just to set up the story, again, it's basically like there was these seasons that the world has lived through,
Hmm.
and you are living the final season. So nobody
Okay.
knows what's gonna happen next. If like everything's just gonna end or that's it. So you're going around kind of recording like bits and pieces of civilization to leave for whatever's next, so that like
All
those people
right.
remembered. Like, and from what I can tell now, like people are starting to like, and this is like very very minor spoiler, but like people are like losing their memories. Like there's some disease going around that people are just like slowly losing their memories. Like maybe it's an allegory for Alzheimer's or something. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
But it's just fascinating. Like it just
Hmm.
continues to like and it's one of those things where everything isn't quite as it seems, because I mean you saw a little bit last night. We were getting introduced to like a certain faction that was like seems like they're
Yeah.
trying to help but maybe they're not, and so I don't know. I'm right now that game is the probably the best game I played all year, that as far as like what has pulled me in
Okay.
narratively.
Okay.
I love games where you can just poke around and stuff. But yeah, I'll have to report back. I think from what I'm seeing, I'm about midway through it right now. So I'm hoping it's not a very long game. It's only like 6-ish hours, but I've just been poking at it at night. It's such a chill game too. Like to just like turn on and just relax and just, especially if you got good headphones on, like the sound, the environment is so good. Even video game headphones. I mean, like the sound, it sounds, the sound design is so great. And the visuals, like, chef's kiss. Um,
Nice.
but the big game that I've been playing, that I was playing first. Why are you
Yes. Yes.
sighing? Why are you sighing?
No. 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 It's just, I'm sorry. The big release from the
It
week.
is the
Big
big
release.
release of this week because Zelda technically came out last week.
Oh, very true. Very true. Very true.
Is Trackmania. They released a new Trackmania just called Trackmania. If you don't know what Trackmania is, it's best way I can put it is like a time attack run based racing game. It's been around since 2003. I played the original Trackmania. Then there was like Trackmania. I had it pulled up earlier, but they have such ridiculous names. There's like Nations Unite, and then there's like United Unite and weird. And then the one that I really got in on PlayStation 4 was Trackmania Turbo. That was like the first console release. And then they just rebooted it as just Trackmania as a free game. It was on PC. It just hit console. I've been playing the shit out of it. I love it. The only thing I don't like is that I can't put a custom soundtrack in it. But other than that, like I love it. I don't like that I don't have access to the rooms yet. I wish I could have showed that off on stream because that is the fun part about Trackmania is going into the room that's like got the hardest difficulty because the star of the game. I think I said it on stream. The star of the game is not the cars. The star of the game is the tracks, the ridiculous tracks, like the things that you can do, and the sense of speed that you can get on those tracks. And just like going upside down and hitting sections that, like I was hitting sections last night that's like has no steering. You couldn't steer anymore. Or hitting sections that super boost you, which you think would help you, but when you got hit a bunch of twisty turns while super boosted, it's hell. But I love it. And
it's awesome.
The thing that I like about it is, I think I also said on stream, when you fuck up, you just hit the circle button, you're starting it right over. Like you're just jumping right back to the beginning. There's no load time, there's no wait. You're just starting right back at the beginning. And when you're playing in a room with people, all you're trying to do is set the best time. Because in theory, if you were all to start the race at the same time and you set the best time, you'd be first place. So you'll be in a room with like 100 other ghosts and just be zooming through, and you're just trying to set the best time over and over and over on these little short tracks. That's why the tracks are also kind of short too. There are long circuit tracks, but I kind of like the short ones because they're super ridiculous usually. Like there's some that have loops, and you're just driving on the ceiling, and you know if you're not going fast enough, you're just gonna fall off the ceiling because you're just not. But it's free. Yeah. I would highly recommend it. It's on Xbox. It's on PlayStation. I don't know if it's on Switch. It's on PC. It's a lot of fun.
It looks fun. I will say, like you sent me a video of like an old YouTube channel or video of yours of you playing it. Yep,
that was a Turbo. Yep,
Trackmania. Yeah, Turbo. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I was watching you play last night, and I realized it's the game that is being used on the TikTok trend where they read off Reddit like stuff, and they have that playing in the background to keep my ADHD brain entertained.
That's what it is. It's not one of those games where it's like, but like it's one of those that like I just want to play something like at the end of the night mindlessly and just hit a track over and over and over. And the cool stuff that you can do with the tracks. That's the thing too. Is just like
you might have convinced me. I might pick it up.
Yeah. It's just worth checking out. Like especially because it's free. There's nothing to lose on it. But yeah, that's all I have for games. And we're making some pretty decent time here. We should be able to bang these out. Why don't we jump in news?
Okay.
All right. First one is kind of a smaller story, but I figured we can kind of spin it off onto a topic. And I don't have a article pulled up for it because it's everywhere. But PlayStation is having a showcase literally in a couple days here on the 24th, May 24th. I didn't get the time, but what do we expect to see out of Sony? I don't know if this is their big one, because they said they were going to have two, but now this seems like this might be another one before the big one because Summer Games Fest doesn't start till like the beginning of June, so
right. See, I was about to throw out like a bunch of different stuff here, but then you're telling me that this is a smaller one, so now I'm like,
I don't know if it is or not. That's the thing.
Well, hold up. Let me get into Twitter then while I talk. But because I was thinking like, this would be the like we're gonna get Spider-Man 2 stuff. We're gonna get maybe Wolverine.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I want to see more Wolverine and Spider-Man too, but I'm like really excited for Wolverine.
Maybe I'm trying to think of other Sony games that like are on the docket. But what like now I'm starting to think, is this more of like indies?
I would like to. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be a little bit of both. Who knows? But I'm just trying to think of like with what Sony hasn't announced. Who's not working on something that we know about? Naughty Dog. We don't know if they're working on the next Last. I mean, they're probably working on the next Last of Us. But
didn't what's his name?
Neil Druckmann.
Neil Druckmann. Yeah, didn't he come out and say that like they're working on 3 right now to get ready for season 2? So that way, when season 2 drops, like they only have very little time before season 3 drops. So they're not waiting too long.
Maybe, I don't know, but I would like to see something new out of them personally. Just they've been doing Last of Us for a little while. They've been doing uh, Uncharted for a while. Those are very much kind of like in the similar vein. I would like to see them branch out a little bit. Sucker Punch is clearly working on Spider-Man.
Right,
Um,
right.
so what other Sony Santa Monica just wrapped up on God of War, so I can't really expect them to turn around and have anything to really say just yet on something new.
I feel
So
like I heard that somewhere from like Corey Barlog or something that they have like a new IP that they're working on.
really, see, I would like that, but I didn't think something they would have anything this soon. Just because, like I said, God of War just
No,
wrapped up, or even anything to show or tease.
no, I think all because I think that was the gist of the tease was like because people were like, hey, what's next? Are we gonna get like a God of War like spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played Ragnarok, but like a God of War Atreus to continue his story like when he's older or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
That'd be cool.
But I think he said something about like they're gonna step away from God of War for a bit. Let this story like settle and live
Mm-hmm.
its life. And I think he said that like they have a new IP that they're working on.
Okay.
But he was like, we have nothing to show. We
For
just have
some
like
reason, what jumped into my head recently was Prince of Persia, but I want to say Ubisoft is working on a Prince of Persia reboot.
don't they own the rights to it?
I think so. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know why that just jumped into my head when we were talking about God of War. But then I was instantly like, wait a minute, I think Ubisoft has that. So
Yeah,
but yeah, I would love to see something new out of them.
that'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
I'm
This
trying to
is
think.
pie in the sky for me, but I'd love to see. Um, well, I don't think we're gonna see it because it's probably gonna skew more Western titles. But I'd love to see like my dream stuff would be like Persona 6 or maybe something out of Yoko Taro, whatever's next. I know because I know he's always working on something. But I can't even say, is it near? Is it Drakengard? Is it something else? I don't know. Is it collaborating on a Final Fantasy? Is it making a gotcha card game because he made one of those just recently that is really good? That, what is it, House of Dragon or whatever? That's his game, or whatever. I don't know what. No, that's the Game of Thrones show. There's something else, something of cards. I don't know. I didn't play that one, but whatever. Some Yoko Taro fan I am, I guess. But
Oh, I got something maybe.
oh, what do you got?
Stray 2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Stray was good. I think it was, now that I've like a little bit away from it, I think it got a little overhyped, but uh
It was a fun
it was fun.
brain turn off.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it told a good story. I thought. Cute story.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, other than that, I don't know anything else that would come out of Sony, but um
No.
we could see more of the next thing here, which my wife is going to be extremely excited about. My wife Shauna, love you, babe. Um Mortal Kombat 1 was announced. And
Yeah.
it's funny, over the week this story kind of changed in the note. It was like Mortal Kombat reboot question mark, Mortal Kombat reboot without the question mark, Mortal Kombat 1 announced 9/19/2023. So it was like I was editing it throughout the week because I went from like pulling up articles to now I literally have the Mortal Kombat website just pulled up because they already have a website pulled up for it.
That's awesome.
I haven't watched the trailer yet, but what it says is discover a reborn Mortal Kombat universe created by the fire god Liu Kang. So obviously flipping the script, obviously moving some things around, and with how they ended Mortal Kombat 12 or Mortal Kombat 11, they can do whatever they want. Anyway,
Yeah.
they were just fucking with time at some point. At that point, but Mortal Kombat is probably top 3, 4 fighting games for me. I can't really pick a number one because it moves around for me, but that was actually one of the first games I really fell in love with, actually, was Mortal Kombat and the Sega Genesis. That like hooked me so hard. Mortal Kombat 2 specifically. But I don't know. I'm really excited just for anything new in Mortal Kombat because that's the one story I feel like fighting game story that's always delivered because it's always just never taken itself too seriously.
Hmm.
It's always been ridiculous, always been over the top. You can always just kind of say, like, if someone says, "Hey, this is a new thing in Mortal Kombat," you can be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" That any other fighting game, you'd be like, "What?" But like this one's like, sure, we'll take it. But I don't know. What's your relationship with like Mortal Kombat and I guess fighting games in general?
So
And are you excited for it?
I'm cautiously excited. So like I've already told you like my reservations, and that's like the pre-order bonus is a playable character. If you pre-order, you get Shang Tsung, which is cool. But why pre-order? Um, I sometimes play fighting games. I used to play them a lot
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid. The first one I ever played was Tekken 3 on the PS1. I think it was Tekken
All
3.
right, all right, all right. Yeah.
But I guess I can kind of like blend this into like the last topic. The one I played the most was when I was like in with like the PS2 was the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, and then
Ooh,
like
yep. I did too.
subsequently like the Tenkaichi
I
series.
didn't play that one, but I
Um,
played Budokai 1 and 2. Yep.
yeah. So like obviously different structures. Um, I'm kind of excited for it. I like how they're kind of teasing a little bit how it's a different fighting style. I feel like that might scare off a lot of people, especially like hardcore Mortal Kombat fans.
As long as
Um,
they don't try to make it a weapon fighter again, like they did on the PS2.
whoa! I played that one a lot. I like
Deception.
that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like the stories in all of them, but oh man, I didn't like the.
I liked how like each character had like three weapons that they could cycle through. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, but I'm a little bummed because it's getting in the way of NetherRealm's other game that they've been teasing for a long time, and that's Injustice 3.
Yeah.
And I really thought that was going to come out sooner.
Yeah, I thought so too, because they usually are on that cycle of every other Mortal Kombat Injustice, Mortal Kombat Injustice, Mortal Kombat Injustice, and they've
Hmm.
done now 2 MKs in a row. They did
Yeah.
10 and then they did 11, and now they're about to do a third one. But WB, with all the turmoil going on over there, who knows, who's
Yeah.
they own them. So,
I'm calling it right now though. Injustice 3 DLC playable character is James Gunn.
okay. Um, yeah, I've been saying this, and now that we have a date for this, this is gonna be a banger year and change for fighting games, because now I'm not sure when Tekken 8 is gonna come out, but we have Street Fighter coming out in like this week, maybe next week. I
Is
want
it
to say,
really this
yeah,
week?
Street Fighter is coming out like soon.
That's insane.
Then we're gonna have Mortal Kombat, and then we're gonna have Tekken all within like, because we're gonna get Tekken. They said before the end of fiscal, so before tax season.
Hmm.
All within a span, and that's like, those are probably my fighting games. If I had to put them in order, or if I had to put them on a list, it's probably Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, and then Bushido Blade. But Bushido Blade, nobody knows about Bushido Blade except for a few very awesome
I,
people.
I have seen quite a few people play it on like YouTube and stuff, and it looks like a lot of fun.
It is literally a fighting game with no health bars. It is, you go to kill somebody, you score a killing blow, they're dead. Like, that's it. Stab them with a katana, walk away. But Square owned that, the last I know, and they're not making anything with that since the PlayStation. So, but yeah. So, and my wife's gonna be super excited because Mortal Kombat is probably Mortal Kombat and Tekken are her top two. And that's a game that she likes to play. She isn't that big of a gamer, but she likes to play some shooters, like zombie shooters. She loved Left 4 Dead. I got her into Call of Duty for a little bit, and then she really loves Mortal Kombat, and that's, she already said, like, so you're pre-ordering that with your birthday money, right, and your Father's Day money, and I'm like, so I'm just committing to that now. But
That's funny.
yeah. So I'm excited. The reboot seems cool. Yeah. Next one comes from Polygon, and this actually says Overwatch 2 director apologizes for game's big cancellation and explains what happened. Yeah, well, if you didn't hear, basically they canceled all their PvE content. I think they said they were going to still have the story, but the hero missions are gone, or the hero mode's gone.
It's more of like, so like every now and then with new seasons they come out with like an event that is a PvE, like a little bit of a story led mission. But it's basically just like the same playstyle as the rest of the game. Like the PvP, like push the payload kind of stuff. But instead of fighting off against players, it's just bots. And that's it.
Okay. But I mean, I'm not a huge Overwatch player. Or I didn't know if, I know you played, you dabbled.
I did more than dabble.
Okay. But I mean, that was kind of the big selling point about Overwatch 2, though, was like the PvE mode. So
Yeah, that's why like I got because I played a lot of Overwatch 1, to the point where I got, let's just say Dustin used to be a very angry person in video games, and Overwatch was the main contender of why. So I took a step back to like help myself and like get over it and come back and like enjoy video games again. And then when they announced Overwatch 2, I was like, oh, all right, pull me back in. Like a story-led mission with these arguably like really awesome, well writ characters with pretty cool abilities. Um, and so I was like, sweet, let's play it again. I did the beta. I played it when they came out with it again and was doing like Overwatch 2 stuff, with just doing like this typical same stuff as Overwatch 1 with the excitement of PvE stuff. Um, and naturally, like, as par with the rest of the community, I'm pretty pissed. Uh, it was to the point where like I even because I haven't played in a hot second, I'll admit that, but I have heard a lot of like there was the ability to like change abilities for the player or for the characters and like level them up in like an RPG style with like talent trees and stuff. And they kind of teased it a little bit in April Fools with like an April Fools like game mode where you could play with these different abilities that they had been building in engine.
right.
But now a lot of us are feeling like, should we have like seen it coming then? Like, was that the joke? The
Yeah.
joke was April Fools, you're never going to get this again, but here's the tease of something you will never ever physically see again.
Right.
So,
According to the Polygon article, director says, things rarely go as planned in game development. We struggled to find our footing with the hero mission experience early on. Scope grew. We were trying to do too many things at once, and we lost focus. The team built some really great things, including hero talents, new enemy units, early versions of missions, but we were never able to bring it all together, all the elements to ship a polished, cohesive experience. Um,
you know what I hear from that? I hear, "Hi, we're Blizzard. We've been sucking for the last 5 to 7 years.
at
We've
least,
heard you. Yeah, at least we've heard you. Um, we've heard your complaints ever since Diablo Mobile. Um, and we're just going to choose to ignore you. And we're just going to continue to turn out shit. Thank you for all your money of why we released Overwatch 2
preach,
and all of you like
preach.
dropping the money to buy it with the hopes of the PvE, just for us to pocket it.
Yeah, and
And
that
you're
is not
never going to see that.
and that is not directed towards any of the people that are working on the ground in the studio.
No, 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 no,
Absolutely
no.
not. This is
Like, I am throwing out complaints and talking shit, but never ever I'm gonna like, don't send death threats to
no. This
no.
goes to the people at the top making the decisions. This was an interesting thing brought up on a few other podcasts that I listened to, and I wanted to bring it to here. Do you think that if the Microsoft transaction goes through, do you think Microsoft could help right the ship of Overwatch?
Fuck
Like
no.
Microsoft money.
Just no.
Like if they
Just no
just
in
kept
general.
even if they just kept the talent and just pumped a bunch of freaking money in, do you think they
Here
could?
here mm, I don't think they'll right the ship of Overwatch, but maybe they'll right the ship of Blizzard in general.
Okay.
And maybe in a few years down the road, we might see a pretty credible, exciting adventure from Blizzard slash Activision slash Microsoft. Um, because like, damn to us, or whatever the phrase is. Uh, like Blizzard's done this before.
Yeah.
Like they had StarCraft like PvE first person games that they're creating that were practically done, and then they just pulled the plug.
Yep.
And so one, not surprised. Two, surprised and bummed. But no, I don't think there's anything fixing this.
Yeah. Piggybacking off of that, the reason I mentioned that is this just comes from The Verge. The Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition was approved by the EU regulators. Europe clears the Microsoft giants $68.7 billion deal. We were kind of talking about this was just weeks after UK regulators blocked the acquisition. And I believe it's still being gummed up here in the United States, but the EU clears it. What do we think about that? I mean, unfortunately, my take is the arguments that have been brought forward so far have just not held any weight. They've only been being brought up by Sony, and they're all like, "Oh, it'll disrupt the market." But at the same time, if we really look at it, the only thing Activision really has that's the moneymaker is Call of Duty. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like World of Warcraft, you could say too, but like let's be real. Like it's just Call of Duty. So and Microsoft has been going around, and we know it's just to save face, has been going around making all these different deals. Like they tried to cut a deal with Nintendo. They were cutting a deal with that Ukrainian developer. They've been cutting deals left and right to just like, hey, see, we're still going to distribute our games everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is just one more thing that'll just kind of I don't know. What do you think before I jump in?
No, um, I
I've
don't
talked
see
to
it
death about this on
disrupting.
multiple episodes. So
I don't see it disrupting the market. I think that's kind of a shitty argument. I will say that uh, I guess I don't want to come across as like maybe a corporate shill, but I can see it. I can see why Sony would shake in their boots a little bit because Call of Duty one has a massive,
right.
massive community on the PS5, if not like the biggest out of all the other consoles.
Mm-hmm.
And it arguably maybe runs better on like the PlayStation systems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I feel like one, I think this kind of goes back to the whole fear of like all the studios were buying, like the big houses were buying up all the studios. Sony's done the same thing,
Mm-hmm. I would argue
and
though that
I
Sony hasn't done it on the same level because they acquired Bungie, but then Microsoft also acquired Bethesda and now trying to acquire Activision, which a lot of
yeah,
people don't think too. Activision also owns King, which is Candy
mm-hmm.
Crush, so that's a lot of money. Um,
Like
it's
I don't think it's that in the vein of like monopolizing anything, but
well, in
I,
Microsoft too, we've seen them pivot. They want to become that service company with Game Pass and everything. Like
right.
I've been saying for a long time that I could see someday that in a weird world that you just have a Game Pass app on your PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
like or on your Switch, or like to just and you subscribe to Game Pass and you get those games, but it's on whatever console of choice you have.
Mm-hmm.
I I I I
Yeah.
think Microsoft would do that. There was rumors for a while, a few years back, when Game Pass was first like kicking around and really gaining traction, that they were in talks at Nintendo, not with Sony, but at Nintendo to get Game Pass on the Switch.
Um, Not even
Um,
just a few years back. The talk was still going on like this
yeah,
year.
yeah, they. I know that door is still open. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the route that Microsoft's going. So I could see. My fear is that if Microsoft owns everything, it's gonna be like Disney, and everything's gonna have to go to Microsoft. You want it to get approved, like that's.
Yeah.
But that's my scary pie in the sky. I'm
Do
paranoid.
you, do you think Nintendo is kind of afraid that it's going to become a Nintendo Sega kind of thing?
Between
Where,
Sony and Microsoft?
yeah, where Microsoft is doing all this and Sony thinks that they're going to become the powerhouse like Nintendo was. And then Sega's like, well, I guess Sony's not going to be able to push out anything. And then Nintendo's just going to, or not Nintendo, Xbox, Microsoft is just going to acquire Sony and then just kind of shutter it a little bit.
I don't know because I know Sony's got to do something on that front. Their equivalent to Game Pass is in my opinion awful. Like
Yeah,
in comparison. Like I mean,
it's
I'm glad they have one now. Thank you, but like look at the library that Game Pass has.
mhm.
You have an
It
Xbox.
was
It's like I don't, but I know it's huge. Like it's
yeah, no, I mean like Jess has the Xbox Game Pass and it's massive. And PlayStation, I did PlayStation for a bit and it was sweet. But they canned the biggest draw to it, and that was like past gen console games were gonna be on the PS5. So like Jack and Dexter and all that series, Ratchet and Clanks, all those games gone now because they weren't gonna focus on it anymore. But that was the main draw, and now there's no point in having it.
right. Yeah. So that's just been really disappointing. So I if Microsoft can I don't know. I this is what they've been leaning towards for a while. They want to become that
Hmm.
services but kind of piggybacking on that, the UK regulators right after this came out, I guess one of the UK regulators from the CMA went to Twitter and basically is saying that the UK is standing by its decision to block the Microsoft Activision deal and
Okay.
uh is actually trying to appeal to the EU to like reconsider. So not too much more to
I
say about
wonder.
that. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there, like, well, the UK is kind of standing by its decision. So,
Mhm.
um, could we see a world where this goes through the? Well, I mean, well, if it doesn't go through anywhere else, they're probably just going to cancel the deal. But
No. I don't see it going through. Only because I don't see UK like budging.
mm-hmm.
UK seems pretty steadfast, and here's like the thing is like if UK's not budging, we're not budging.
Yeah.
And we're way more of a capitalist society, so like yeah, I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah. This one was a little bit of a smaller one. The comes from Polygon, but it was kind of everywhere. The Pac-Man Battle Royale game, Pac-Man 99, is shutting down this fall. Which was available on the Nintendo Switch Online service. It was a 99 player like Pac-Man Battle Royale. It was pretty fun. It was kind of like in the vein of like Tetris 99 and things like that. But I just threw that in there. That's shutting down. Next thing is, it doesn't shock anyone. Zelda's selling a shit ton. This comes directly from the Nintendo website as of the 17th. So they've probably sold more since then. Tears of the Kingdom has sold over 10 million copies worldwide in the first 3 days, coming the fastest selling games in the series. And is also the fastest selling game ever in the Americas for Nintendo.
You want to know a little tidbit to go with that?
Hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom sold more copies in 3 days than the Wii U sold in its entire lifetime.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
So there's this joke that this old podcast that used to do that it doesn't exist anymore, and I'm gonna bring back the joke since they don't exist anymore, about Reggie being really bitter that the Wii U didn't sell well. So anytime something happens, like when the Switch first came out, they'd make this joke about how like, why can't we get a Switch? And Reggie's like, fuck them, that's why they can't get them. like that's Reggie right now.
Yeah.
Anytime you bring up the Wii U and how it failed, he's just like, fuck you.
I mean, we'll get into it in a different day. But
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's an outright failure, but it wasn't great. But
no.
Because of that, piggybacking off of that, we're just gonna hit these boom, boom, boom here. On GameSpot, the Zelda series producer says its open world format is here to stay. Also, as much as somebody who didn't really like this format initially, it doesn't surprise me either. If it's selling like gangbusters, just because I'm not a huge fan of it, doesn't mean clearly there's a lot of people that like it. I don't know. What do you think about this being the format going forward, though?
I think it's cool, but like in the same aspect, it's going to alienate a part of the audience, similar like you're part of the audience of the 2D drop down, and so I'm almost wondering if like, yeah, the template's here to stay, and they might not change the format too much, but considering just like what they did with Breath of the Wild, and then they came out with Link's Awakening HD remastered, I wonder if they're going to go in the same vein of Pokemon, where you get the main series title of like the series, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, but then in between launches, you're going to get a 2D drop down, like small, like really fun adventure style, like between those titles.
Right. I hope so. Or I'd like to just even get an experimental title where, like, okay, if you know this is going to be, because I mean, when Breath of the Wild launched, you could argue that was the experimental title because it was the first time they did it. But now that they know this is the template going forward, now they can make that the main one, and then maybe like you said, do the top down, or just do something different.
Battle Royale.
Because
just kidding.
I'm leaving.
Just kidding.
No.
Okay, well, this was a fun podcast. Thank you for having me.
Yep. We're already canceling this again. No, I think that'd be cool. But like I said, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, if they're making that much money, like, why not? Until people get sick of it, then maybe after the third one, then we'll be like, okay, let's do something different. But
yeah.
Next story, Amazon is making a Lord of the Rings MMO via Polygon, which is weird because Lord of the Rings MMO, Lord of the Rings Online, still exists. I'm pretty sure the original Lord of the Rings Online is still open, still going.
Still runs?
Yeah. But it's Amazon Games, and they're making it with the same developers that made the New World.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't really play MMOs too much anymore, but I do love Lord of the Rings. I guess it would have to be really freaking good to pull me in. What do you think?
I mean, same vein as you. Freaking love the Lord of the Rings. Like one of, if not the best stories ever. Um, I think it could be cool. I have a buddy of mine who like talks very, very highly of New World.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, yeah, the numbers for that game dropped off, and but that's because they just didn't really keep up with it. But from like when it launched, like people were talking like this could be the MMO killer because it was amazing to them.
Mm.
So it could be fantastic.
Okay.
Could
Yeah.
be.
Could be. Uh, I so we're gonna have to differentiate this. We're gonna be like Lord of the Rings Online and Amazon's Lord of the Rings Online, if there's still two.
Like extended universe that may or may not be canon.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
this isn't a shocker to anybody. This comes from LevelUp.com. After the success of the Sonic movies, Sega could make more adaptations of its franchises. Um, I would love to see a Persona series, since they own Atlas. But I could see also like Yakuza. That would be funny. Or like a dragon. That would be great.
Bayonetta?
Bayonetta would
Hello?
be cool. Yes.
Keep it rated R though, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I'm
so
just
there's a lot that they could mess with. God, what could Alex Kidd? No.
Jet Set Radio, like a nice like stoner comedy, like dude bro
And
kind of
apparently
movie. That'd
they're
be
already
cool.
making a Crazy Taxi TV show or movie. I can't remember if it's
Really?
a TV show or a movie. Yeah, they're making a crazy. I think it's on. I think Amazon's behind it. Of course.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, you know what? You know which one would make gangbusters if they made it like maybe anime or even just like a cartoon and made it super like pumped money into it? Fantasy Star.
yep. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
that would love Fantasy Star. I'm not a huge
Yeah.
Fantasy Star. I mean, I never got into it.
I played a
But
little bit.
I've appreciated it from afar. I should say that. But yeah, I can see. I've actually watched a ton of streamers play it more than actually playing it myself.
Hmm.
But yeah, I could definitely see that selling like gangbusters. Piggybacking on the Sega news coming from IGN, no shocker to anybody, but Sega is also considering a price increase to $70 with its games. Um, I could see that going with everything that they make. I mean, the ones they make again, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Persona, Sonic, all those going forward. I mean, this is kind of like the trend going forward. And again, let's be real, video games have been the same price since the Xbox 360 era. So the fact they've gone up by $10
Hmm.
is kind of crazy to think about that they haven't gone. I am honestly surprised that they're not $100, but I don't know. What do you think of the whole $70 price tag? I guess I never really asked you about that.
Yeah. I think the timing is a little wonky just because we're like on the verge, if not in the middle of a recession. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Um, I don't mind because I've said this since like all this stuff was coming out years ago about like the crunch and the treatment of like their employees and stuff like that, all the different companies. I would not mind paying more for a game if it meant the people on the back end making it were taken care of better.
And it wasn't like going
Like
to the executives, like
exactly.
and the
I wouldn't
shareholders.
I wouldn't mind paying $70 to $100 for a game if it meant that one, they have all the time in the world to do what they want. There's no crunch. They have like a nice like level lifestyle to where they can do the job but also, go home and see their family. Um but yeah, it only sucks to me because it's hurt my wallet right now
Right.
in the
Yeah.
time where my wallet's already hurting. But
Yes. Of course.
yeah, that's all.
Um. Next story is everybody's favorite topic. This is the one that I actually got the Kotaku article. Actually says Assassin's Creed NFTs are coming, and oh god, why? Why are we still talking about NFTs? I figured we bullied enough people off the internet. Didn't Twitter scream loud enough? But people are still trying to get in NFTs. Why? Why? Uh,
It's the
why?
next big thing that it's not big anymore.
It's not though. It's not even real Beanie Babies. It's fake Beanie Babies.
No. And no one No one cares.
And
No one's
no one cares. Who cares enough about Assassin's Creed to want an Assassin's Creed NFT?
Okay, listen. Uh
Dustin, I've
my
never heard
my
some. I've never
nope,
heard anybody
nope, no,
say
nope, nope, nope,
I've.
nope, nope, nope. My I like I will go up to bat for anyone. My fiance's brother is a massive Assassin's Creed person and is going through like the entire thing right now. So I could see him wanting more Assassin's Creed stuff, not necessarily Assassin's Creed NFTs though.
I'm just saying I've never heard anybody in my entire life say like when I'm like, hey, what's your favorite video game series? Assassin's Creed, bro. Love it. And it's like,
I did back when like Brotherhood and 3 were coming out, but
ooh, 3? Really?
well, it was on the verge of 3, right before 3 came out.
Yes. I was gonna say
Yeah.
1, 2, 4. Syndicate was okay because it was right after Unity though, so it kind of got buried. Origins was good, and then after that, I'm just kind of
Yeah. I've heard the stories of the new open world titles are good standalone stories, but they're not Assassin's Creed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, who likes Assassin's Creed enough to want an Assassin's Creed NFT?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why according to Gigadget.com, 2,000 employees aren't enough. Ubisoft will increase by 40% the number of people working on the new Assassin's Creed games. Well, yeah, they're working on what, freaking 10 of them at this point.
I mean, yeah, that's like it's weird that Ubisoft is hiring, but hey, 2,000 people get a new job. I'll
Yeah,
give them that.
yeah,
I'll give them that.
all on Assassin's Creed. Because they've got like
Listen,
Mirage, they've got the Japanese one that they're working on. They've
as long
got
as they get paid.
yes. I just could we maybe take some of those people that you hired and maybe make something else? Ubisoft, I beg you.
A new Rayman game.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But like I don't want another Far Cry. I don't want another Watch Dogs.
hmm
I want a new IP. Please give it to me. Please.
Okay.
Make a new Prince of Persia. Like that we
I'm
talked
hearing
about.
you. I'm hearing you, but I don't mean to get into like a little debatey here. But you're saying new IP, but we just had an IP announced a month ago.
By
Like
Ubisoft?
no, not by Ubisoft. The new studio that's doing what is it, Soldiers of Avium or something like that? Legends of Avium?
Oh yeah, but that's not Ubisoft.
No, but I'm just saying like it's a new IP and
But it's not from Ubisoft.
no, but our talks about it, you're shitting all over it.
I was shitting all over it, but I'm
I'm
talking.
just saying if Ubisoft goes like, here's a new IP, nothing to do with anything else we've done in the past. I'm a little afraid, man, that you might shit on it,
I mean, knowing Ubisoft's track record, I probably will shit on it.
and I'll
But
probably do the same. But
if it's the same goddamn open world template that we've seen in every of Ubisoft games, whether it is Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs or Far
Mhm.
Cry, then yeah, I am gonna shit all over it. Oh, Ghost Recon. You haven't done a Ghost Recon in a little bit. The last few have been hit and miss.
Winter
Make a new-
Cell, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. What about Rainbow Six? They haven't done Rainbow Six in a while, have they? Oh, they did that weird like one that was originally called Quarantine, and then they changed it from Quarantine to something else because that was in the middle of
I
quarantine.
mean, that's great, but like, why do that when Rainbow Six Siege still makes them like buku bucks?
Yeah. New IP. I'm telling you, new IP.
Yeah.
This one's just a little smaller thing. Steam is starting 90-minute game trials. This comes from Eurogamer, and they're starting with a Dead Space remake until May 29th. So you can play
That's
up to
cool.
90 minutes of Dead Space. I think that's really awesome considering like EA or Valve already has like a really good refund policy, I think. So on top of being able to try games for 90 minutes, that's awesome. I wonder what other games are gonna start doing it. That has me super curious. I don't know, what do you think about that?
I miss demos.
Yeah.
I miss demos a lot. Like especially as a kid, I miss going into like Walmart and Target and sitting in the game section.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, 90-minute trials, bringing those back. Great.
I
Love it.
miss even like back on like the Xbox 360, because that's what I had at the time. Going just to the demo section and getting demos. Like there was literally just a demo section. You could download a demo. I really miss that.
I miss the days where you would get a demo inside of a a case for a different game. Like Splashdown 2 came with a demo for, albeit it was crappy. But what was that like Sphinx like Jack and Daxter ripoff game? Like
Sphinx
Legends of
Dragon.
Sphinx or whatever.
I don't know.
I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, there was like a trial for that, or like a demo, like a little puzzle demo. And that was cool. I used to play that all the time because it was free. But
So
yeah.
when I got my PlayStation 1, it came with a demo disc, the fabled demo discs.
Yeah.
I had demo disc volume 7, which was like around the time, oh my god, it had like Blasto and Jersey Devil on it, and
That's so
Tomb
cool.
Raider 2 was on that one. The trailer for the original Metal Gear Solid was on it. Yeah, that was epic. I remember like you get like subscribe to PlayStation Magazine, it would come with a demo disc too, and have like
Yeah.
nine demos and 9 trailers. Like you just pop that in your PlayStation. Oh, I miss those days. Bring those back. I understand that's like a waste of like materials and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but put it on the store. Put it on your
Yeah.
oh, yeah, just do it that way.
Put it on your Game Pass. Sony put it on your Game Pass.
Yeah,
There you go. You would get me back for that.
yeah. They would
You would
they would almost get me in the first place with that. Almost. They need to build
yeah.
that library.
Listen,
um,
listen. I don't want to go too far into it, but Xbox does have the Game Pass, but Sony has the first person IPs that are doing way better.
that is true. That is the joke that we make on this podcast a lot. Is like, where are the games?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like you had Halo, and then that was it. Like, where's Fable? Where's everything else? Gears of War, anything? Are you alive in there? Starts resuscitating. Last 2 stories here, because I know you got your heart out here, but we're actually making decent time here.
Okay.
This comes from Video Games Chronicle. Saudi Arabia reportedly is increasing its stake in Electronic Arts. It's increasing its stake from 16.0 million or 16.01 million shares to 24.81 million shares, which is an increase of looks like 55%.
Something like that, yeah.
Which awesome. Saudis getting more of their money into EA. Wow, EA just doesn't know, just when you think that they're stepping out of it, they're like, all right, we release Jedi Survivors and we're getting more money from the Saudis.
Like, yeah, my only thing is just don't mess with the Jedi series.
I just
I
say
can talk about that on a different day because I like taking a step back. I have complaints about it now, but
I
mean,
read the room. That's all I gotta say.
yeah,
We literally had journalists getting killed in freaking Saudi Arabia, but that we're still arguing about. But yeah, we're gonna continue to fund. I can go into it if this was a political podcast. You don't want me to go into that.
Maybe a different day.
Yeah. And then the last one, this one just kind of hits close to me because it involves my favorite podcast getting shut down. Vice Media files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I don't give a fuck about Vice Media, but I do give a shit about Waypoint, which was their games coverage division. Waypoint for me was like the 2 big inspirations for me were always Giant Bomb and Waypoint. Waypoint probably bigger. And that's part of the reason why I kind of started this podcast in the first place was like a lot of people on them. Were always super inclusive. They had so many different writers and contributors over the years from the Black community, LGBTQ community. They were really great at shining light on the labor issues affecting the industry. We touch on that a lot, but they would literally do entire podcast episodes dedicated to just like what's going on when the strikes are going on at Riot. They would literally just dedicate like an entire podcast to what is going on there and who they were able to interview and really shine a light on that. And it really sucks that work is going to go away because they were really the only podcast that really just focused. Of course, they focused on the day-to-day games, but whenever a story came up about the labor specifically in video games, they would always make sure to shine a light on that. And they still have work until June 2nd, but then after that, they're done. So that sucks.
Damn.
That was more just for me.
R.I.P.
But yeah, R.I.P. Waypoint. I hope everybody there finds work because we saw the Washington Post shut down their video games division, and just games journalism right now is crazy. There was that lot of turnover at Giant Bomb even. It's It's a mess. And here I am
Yeah.
trying to get into it on my own.
Hey, honestly, that I've been seeing that that's the way to go, is start your own thing and just grow.
Yeah,
So
that's about all you can do.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a podcast. I think we did it.
Yeah.
You did
That was
pretty
great.
good. That was fun.
It was awesome. Yeah.
What do you got going on this week? You can go ahead and what are you gonna be getting into?
So definitely going to be streaming on my channel, Darius Prime on Twitch, this week. I don't know what I'm going to be playing. Probably a little bit more Zelda. I do want to take a step back though and play some other games. If it ends up I just do Zelda all the week, I might just do Zelda all week.
Hey,
but yeah, that's it.
I'm gonna hopefully get back to. I think I'm gonna stream more Season for sure because I've been having a lot of fun streaming that. I'm gonna probably play a lot of it off stream too though. But and maybe more Stranger Paradise off stream. I don't know. I'm starting to kind of get burnt out on that. I'm just all hands on deck with Final Fantasy 16. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But you can follow me at Chase_Chase on Twitter. Where can they follow you on Twitter?
You can follow me at Dar Prime EOTTB on Twitter. Yeah, I just make announcements about games. I'm trying to get into a little bit more. So
all right,
yeah.
And then you know my Twitch /ChaseandChaseTV. You can follow us on YouTube and on Twitter at _BlackBoxSignal. Follow us on Twitch at /BlackBoxSignal. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. I'm hoping when I'm not lazy, I can get us on Amazon this week and on Google and on iHeartRadio because I know how to do it now. I'm just being lazy. But
fair.
Everybody, have a great week. As always, stay safe, comrades.